Afternoon, guys. As promised, give my my prototype Kephart made from the butcher's knife. If you watch part one first, at the end of the part one video, I'll show you how I go through how I made it and a few of the specs, but just going to give you a little bit of a demonstration now and go through the pros and cons at the end, obviously, this video. Now, first of all, I want to say that this is not a chopping tool. Okay, a Kephart Kephart knife is not designed for chopping or batoning, because people of that era didn't know what batoning is. They would have used even much larger knives like Bowie knives or similar, or use an axe, tomahawk, etc. if you get me. So the Kephart design, a Kephart knife such as this, being only 3mm thick, it's not designed for chopping, heavy duty chopping, and it's certainly not designed for heavy duty batoning. So, but for all intents and purposes, what I want to use it for is bushcraft tasks and processing wood and kindling. When I say processing wood, I mean shouldn't really be with a knife like this batoning wood that's thicker than this with a knife that's only 3mm thick and a flat grind. Okay, this knife is not designed for that. Okay, but it will do it. Okay, that's all I wanted the knife to do, as long as it can get through this or any wood that's probably thickness of my wrist or a lot smaller. A lot smaller is ideal. It's not what this knife is designed for, any thicker than my wrist. So without further ado, I'll just do a few short carving, maybe make you a tent peg. I will demonstrate some light chopping. Obviously I wouldn't, in the field, I wouldn't really chop with a knife such as this. I use that to my big heavy duty knives and chopping blades or axes or tomahawks like Horace Kephart would have done back in the day. But I will do some light chopping with this to make some small kindling, etc., and feather sticks and such, and just to test the edge and to test the steel. I'm not expecting miracles. It's only made out of an old butcher's knife, but you know, if it fails, it fails. We'll see. I guess we'll see. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so first test. It's not going to be the best videos because, again, I've left my tripod at home. Such of the idiot that I am, I always keep forgetting things. So the first test, I'm going to try and keep the camera as focused as I can with my phone. So first test, I'd say probably the same thickness as my wrist. So I'll be chopping through this to get a decent piece to use for kindling like you would in the outdoors, in bushcraft, and we'll have a go at batoning it as well. Like I say, when knives such as this, you really don't want to be chopping through or batoning a piece of wood that's thicker than this. Okay, let's crack on. Let's see how she does. So choose an area first. Chopping, I want to cut through my leg, so I'll stand back here and probably cut it about here, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, ready? This is where it snaps. see, it's not the best chopper in the world because it is only a butcher's knife. That's 3mm. But I will do it to test the edge that I put on it. Ain't too bad actually for the size of it. Not at all. Okay. I don't know if you saw that. I really wish I bought my tripod, but we chopped through it, so I'd say it's about the same thickness. I'm not far off, probably a tiny bit shorter than thickness is my wrist. Okay, so it chopped through it, as you can see, but obviously this is green apple. Okay, it chopped through it, but it's not the, I'd say, the hardest wood in the world. Okay, but with a knife like this, you'd probably go for something that you could chop with it, you know, so you wouldn't choose something that's too hard like oak. Although as long as you keep to this kind of thickness, I suppose it could do it. Maybe take a little bit longer, but for what it is, and the grind on what it is, and 3mm thick, not too shabby. You know, it cut through it, it's down, so not bad at all. So as I do with all the knives, obviously I want to be as straight with you guys as I can, so I'm not being I want to not lying to myself, so I want to test, see what it's done. Okay, so doesn't appear to be any damage to the edge whatsoever. No, I thought I had a nick in my blade then, but it's just a piece of wood that was stuck on the apex. No, so there's no rolls at the minute, no chips. All in all, it's intact. Look at the handle, any cracks, deformations, chips in the handle. No, guard's intact, that's okay. There's no gaps appeared in the tang. And I was, as you can see, I was hitting it quite hard, because you'd have to with a knife like this. Still straight, no chips, no deformations of the blade, no rolls, no chips, no handle damage, no separation of the scales to the tang, no gaps appeared. So yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. So first one, chopping, passed. That's a pass. So that's one task out of the way. Okay, so test number 2. Really should be more prepared for my videos. So test number 2 is batoning. Okay, did actually have a piece of wood for batoning. I have no idea where it's gone. So Okay, so I did have a piece of wood to bat on with, and I've misplaced it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece of ash with my saw to size, and then we're going to bat on through this. Again, this shorter than my wrist, so I'd say maybe 2.5 inches, something like that. And this is ash and this is hardwood. Okay, it has got one knot in it there, two down there, but what I'm going to do, if you just bear with me, I do apologise, my videos always tend to go tits up when I've not prepared myself. So I'm just going to cut this down to size. Let's keep my videos as true as possible. So to prove that I don't edit anything out, I never ever edit anything out of my videos, never. And the main reason why I don't edit my videos, is because I have no idea how to do it. I'm not a computer whiz, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this down to size so I can bat on with it, this ash. Okay, so as you can see, ash is very hard, and it is quite hard to cut through as well. The saw I'm using is only a cheap pruning saw, so yeah, if I probably used my bushcraft saw, a Barco Laplander or something like that, it probably would have cut it through a lot quicker. But since I haven't got that at the where I am, I'll have to make do with this. But we've got this anyway. So I'm going to attempt to bat on through this. It is really hard pine. Got a knot there as well. Let's see how she does. Quite cold today. Get me log. Probably will at some point do another video, because I know this is not going to be the best video. Okay, there we go. This one's in half. Not too shabby. This one's got a knot. Okay, hopefully you saw that. So really hard ash. It's actually been seasoned for quite a while, but we've got kindling. We baton through it, went through a knot as well, so we've got a kindling. But we're not bothered about the wood, we want to see how the knife performs. So after batoning through about 2 inches thick ash, see how she did. Let's give it a wipe, so I can just give me a second, give it a wipe. Can't see anything with this sap on it. Okay, so just give it a quick wipe. We will inspect the blade, which I'm absolutely cacking myself now. So first inspect the blade, the edge. Don't know if that's a roll in the tip area. Just wipe it on my trousers, because I've got like these Cordura kind of material on my trousers, so I want to be true to my videos, true to my subscribers as well. So I'm going to just rub it off. No, that's fine. That's fine. No, it's absolutely fine. I thought there was a roll in this tip here. It's hard to see. But it's not. I think what it is, it's a tiny micro bevel that I might have left on when I came to sharpening, so I might actually get rid of that when I get home. But I actually thought it was a roll, but it's not. It's just got a tiny micro bevel that I might have missed while I was sharpening. But yeah, no chips. Is that a roll? No. Okay, so no obvious rolls, no chipping that I can see. Now I think, not 100% sure, I think there is the tiniest nick in the blade. Very, very tiny. I'll let you know in just a second. Yeah. Just feel it with my nail. I don't think my phone will pick it up. Oh dear. So round about there is the most tiniest nick in the blade, which I'm not actually worried about, because you know sometimes when you buy knives that's been freshly sharpened and things like that, and then you start using it and abusing it, now and again, doesn't matter what steel it is, you can get very tiny little kind of microchips on the apex. So it's not the first time, you know, I've had it on high-end knives, so that's why I'm not really worried, because this is a freshly sharpened knife. Probably get that out with just a few passes on my ceramic stone, and I think it'll be alright. But it's not a major fault at all. Very tiny, teeny tiny. It's not even a millimetre, not even half a millimetre, but you'll never notice it till you focus right up. It's like this thickness of my nails, very tiny. That's probably where it hit the knot, but it is there. But because of what it is, I mean, I'm still not a fail, because I know that knives have, on the apex, the very apex, have chipped on me in the past. But bearing in mind, this knife is not designed for chopping, it's not designed for batoning. But, you know, this is a flat grind with a V-edge. It is not designed for that kind of work. So considering I've just batoned through solid pine and then chopped through, you know, 2.5 inch thick apple, I'm quite impressed actually. I was expecting a lot more. In fact, I was expecting it to snap, but it hasn't. It's not. So apart from the teeny tiny chip, which is, you'd have to pretty much go really close to see it. It's hardly anything at all. Not a problem at all. That's the only damage that I see to it. No other damage is on it. Blade. Yeah, blade still looks straight to me, straight and true. No damage or chips to the handle. Again, no separation from the tang, which is what I was worried about the most, because obviously these are only brass rivets. So that's why you'd never baton with this knife anything thicker than your wrist normally, because it's not the job of the Kephart to do that. But absolutely minimal. That tiny little nick there, very tiny. You know, it's so small that you probably can't even see it. Oh, where's my camera edge? Gotta be the worst cameraman in the world, me. But yeah. But anyway, I'll try and get a better photo of that and I'll show you, but you really can't tell where it is just by looking at it. It's only because I know where it is now that I can see it, but it's so minor that I'm not concerned about that at all. Survived, intact. Like I say, you do get odd microchip on even new knives sometimes, so I'm not really worried about that. So that to me is another pass. Quite impressed. I didn't expect it to make it this far, to be fair. So got the Kindle in. So now I'm going to do some close-up work. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can probably see me now, which I couldn't do before. But yeah, I'm surprised it made it that far. To be fair, I wasn't expecting it to go that far at all. If that's the only damage that was done through light batoning and chopping through some apple, then I'm quite impressed for a butcher's knife, 3mm butcher's knife. Okay, so is this actual apple? I think this is apple. Yeah. So how does she carve? Okay, so again, it's a flat grind. It is designed for slicing, not particularly designed for slicing wood, but it is designed for delicate work, you know, like feather sticking and things like that. So let's see how she does. Okay, so I need to reshape this, and we'll see how she does. Try and get in focus here. Oop. Landed in my cup. Yep, it's quite a good slice, eh? But don't forget, this is only green wood. It's apple. been cut down probably a few months ago, so it has had some seasoning but not a lot, so it's not going to be rock hard or anything like that. But your knife is a tool, so we need to use them as such. Okay, bark, shave the bark off. Not too shabby, quite good actually. So yeah, not too bad at all. Quite impressed with that. Quite impressed with that. So I need to reshape this as if I'm going to put a point on it. So it broke off there from earlier. So we'll do some chesties, some chest levers. Now I did grind right up here. You can see there. So I have put an edge on it right up to there. This kind of ricasso area there. Okay, which I left there on purpose, so that I can sharpen it quite easily in the field. Okay, so obviously the edge part stops there, and then obviously it goes into the tang, thins out towards the tang. Okay. But yeah, quite like the carving ability of this, and that sound of steel on wood. That pinging sound that you only get with knives that's as thin as this. But you can hear how much that's biting into the wood. You can hear it. Sun's just started to come out now, so it's going to start warming things up a bit, I think. Yeah, so yeah, not too shabby at all. Like I say, so it's more of a giant tent peg. Okay, so, but if you making a giant tent peg, obviously it needs to have a notch. So I'm going to do a notch with this in here, probably about up here somewhere. Let's have a look, probably about there because it sticks out the most. So let's see how she performs with notching. So put the blade down, do your first cut there, as I always do, and then we cut into that stop cut there by depressing your thumb at the edge of the spine. So obviously this is 3mm. I think if it was any thinner, then it would probably cause a bit of friction on your thumb and hurt your thumb a bit. But we'll see how she does. But with notching, bear in mind it is a flat grind, so it's not going to be as good as a Scandi grind or a hollow grind in notching. But there is no such thing as the one tool job. There's no such thing as the one tool knife, one knife to do it all. As I explained in one of my other videos, you know, I don't believe in one tool options anymore. But that sound in the wood, so it is biting. It sounds like, as I always say, when you're crunching through snow, you're on your boot. That's the sound that you're wanting. Okay. So Did that no problem at all. Can use this tip area here, like it's typical in the Kephart design, where it's got a round bit here. That is really good for skinning and good for delicate work as well. Hence why the grind is slightly wider here for that purpose. And that purpose is for more delicate, more intricate work, like tidying up this notch. So first of all, we cut the notch, and now we're going to widen the notch and just tidy it up a little bit. And that is what I'm going to use the tip for. And it's doing an absolute beautiful job of that. So I can clearly see why a Kephart design knife could be used for bushcraft. I can see now where Horace Kephart was going with this kind of knife design, because it really does come into its own when you do some work with it. All knives have their limitations, all of them do. Some are good for chopping, some like this are not going to excel in chopping or batoning because it's not designed for it. It's only thin stock, but it did do it. Yes, there was that tiny microchip, which I won't stop complaining about, but it is only minor, and I was expecting it to be a lot worse. I've had a lot worse chips than that on much higher end knives than this. But the blade's intact, it's not bent, it's not, you know, it's not fractured in any way. You've just got like a teeny tiny microchip in the apex. Due to it being just freshly ground to a really fine edge. And if you've got an edge that is too fine, you will get microchips, very minor microchips now and again on your blade when you first using it, but they will go once you start sharpening, and touch wood, they won't come back. So I'm not blaming that on the knife at all. But you know, the more I use this knife, the more I like it. I really do like Kephart designs, and I've always wanted to make my own Kephart knife. But yeah, I can see this being really useful, really good for intricate carving. Okay, so there's my notch. Okay, so I don't stab myself when I do the next test, I'm going to get rid of this tip here. Just get rid of that and then just take the top off like that, so I don't stab myself. Just round the tip off. Okay, so this has got a sharp spine. I left it sharp for a reason. It's not the sharpest spine in the world, but it's sharp enough to do what I want it to do, which is shaving bark or shaving fat wood, that kind of thing. I don't really use the spine of any of my knives to strike a ferro rod, although this could do it if the need arises. So that's how we do on the scraping. Okay, so knife on the bark, and we'll do first, we'll do some scrapes, some downward scrapes, and see how much material can be removed. As soon as I get the right angle. Yep, just scraping the bark quite nicely. bad at all. It's really, really not bad at all. Okay, so scrape the bark off, as you can see. Not too shabby at all. Now, I would prefer if it was probably just that little touch sharper. So it might be something that I'm going to be doing, but it does the job. You can see how fine these shavings are just by using the spine of the knife, and that was just going from top to bottom, just downward strokes. If you wasn't bothered about using these shavings for firelighting, etc., then you would, and all you wanted to do is just debark it, get the bark off. Then the other method you would use is the up and down stroke. Okay, so you start just as you did with as before, as your downward stroke, but as if you're, say, scrubbing something, like you're scrubbing the dishes with a cloth, or one of them pad things, Brillo pad things. Okay, so you do the same for wood. So you go up and down strokes now. If you wasn't too bothered about saving, up and down. Go. So yeah, by using up and down stroke quite vigorously, you can quite easily remove the top layer of bark. Okay, and like I said, it could do with being just a fraction more sharper. So I might just go over it just one more time for this bit here, to make it just that little bit sharper. But it did it. Did what I needed it to do. Job's a good one, and it's another box ticked, so to speak. So hopefully my log's actually thawed out now, so we can do the next test, which is probably another test that I'm dreading the most, and that's like splitting down kindling using the tip. So let's see if I can somehow do that inside. You can see I always forget my tripod. I don't know why I keep doing this, forgetting it, but I do. Hopefully you can see that. Might do it actually lower, because you're not going to be able to see it properly. So do it about there. Organised as usually, right. So see if I can split these down just a little bit more. So the kindling I did earlier, let's just see if I can split it down just a little bit more. tip. Okay, so edge goes away from you. And then just bang. And break the kindling up. Okay. And again, the thickest part. Press it in. Quick tap. Okay, look it down. That flew off, that one. It's not the best wood to be doing it, but as long as it does the job, that is all I'm bothered about. So again, make the mark, cut it down. Not the best wood to be doing this with. I usually do this with pine. That's it. Knock it down. Thicker piece. Lot thicker piece. If this tip's still intact after doing that, then I'm going to be shocked. Very thick piece this, and it's very thick wood as well. But I'm going to do it again. I need to be sure. The sun is coming out. Oh, good. So yeah. So I've split some pieces, as you can see. Split some pieces here using the tip. Okay, so if you couldn't see, I'm sorry about the angle, but really need to remember to bring my tripod. So basically, bearing in mind that log is frozen solid as well, so that's a good test for the tip. So tip facing outwards, basically what I did is got a piece of split wood that I baton down for kindling. I put the tip of the knife inside the grain of the wood, then I gently tap, or in my case one of the bits of wood was actually thicker than I thought, so I actually put more effort into it. I basically tap down at the same time as pushing down on the handle, and that in turn will split the wood in half, going vertical, and will split it down even more. It saves you, that's when you can't baton through wood like this because it's too thin, and quite frankly it can be too dangerous to baton through something this thin. So we can use that method to split it down further into more tinier twigs for the stove. I'm just going to give this blade a wipe down again with a sleeve to one of my old jackets. Okay, so what damage has it done to the tip? Okay, so first impressions, tip is not bent. Nope. There's no rolls actually either, which is it's actually surprised me quite a bit. Because I kept the tip area of this Kephart blade, I could have ground down this bit here to meet the thickness of the blade down here, because obviously this blade down here is thinner than the tip, but I left the thickness up here for a reason, and the reasons being, obviously, as you've just seen, for breaking down kindling into smaller twigs, which, to be fair, I don't usually, I very rarely do, to be fair. There is just, again, like the chip down here, there is very tiny, and again it's only minor, roll. And as I said before, I was expecting it to be a lot worse, because the log I did that on is frozen solid. So stabbing this knife, a knife like this and as thin as this, into a frozen log, not only can you snap the tip off, but obviously you can very well bend it, deform it, chip the apex, chip the very edge of the blade, but it's got none of that. The only thing damage that it's got by stabbing through the frozen log is a tiny little roll. Again, I don't think you can pick it up. You can't pick it up, mate, can you? No. I ain't got the best camera or the phone in the world, but I'd say about a millimetre thick roll on the edge, caused by stabbing through the frozen log, which, to be fair, a lot of knives, probably even more expensive knife than what this is, will probably do the same thing if you stabbed through the frozen log, because it absolutely solid that log is. And I've been waiting for it all morning through the sun to thaw out, but it's still solid, absolutely solid. And it's usually quite soft, that log, but it's not. It's still solid, and it's still got a bit of ice on it as well. So, considering the damage done to it, I'm quite impressed as well, for what this knife has done. So again, that's a pass in my book. Now I'm going to wrap that up there, guys, and I'm going to go on to part 3, because this video is coming up to nearly 50 minutes long. If you've managed to stay with me for this long, you've done really well. I try to get my my videos down to at least 20 minutes or just past 20 minutes or so, or maximum half an hour. Otherwise people don't view it otherwise. So I do apologise that it's gone on for this long. So I'm going to go into part 3, and I'll give you my verdict on my Kephart design knife. Okay, so catch you in part 3. Thanks for watching, guys.